It's open studio season in North Carolina, a time when artists of all sorts open their workspaces to the public. Hi, I'm the Artful Traveler. Today I'm in Chatham County talking to just a few of the artists who will be participating in the 2008 Chatham Studio Tour. Let's find out why open studio tours are so much fun for the public and so important for the artists.
My name is Regis Bina, and I live in Farrington in Pittsburgh. I do work that is related to metals, wood, paper, and almost anything that I can find any place. A studio tour is an experience, and since this is my 16th year, I started at the very beginning with the small group. And it's a fascinating experience because you meet wonderful people of all kinds, and there are some people who walk in and walk out, and there are other people who can stay and talk to you and ask a million questions. I don't usually work during that because it's just too hectic. It is amazing the kinds of people that you meet. Some bring very little children, some bring their older children, and I've even invited several teachers to come and bring their classes. There are quite a few people come back year after year, and it's the only time that I see them. There are other people that I know on different levels who will pop in, and I'm surprised to see them because I didn't know that they knew that I was an artist. And many repeats, and many people come back particularly because they've been interested before and they've bought some of my work, and therefore they kind of become mini collectors, which is nice.
My name is Scarpa, and I work with clay. I make different things with clay, from functional to sculptural things. I don't really differentiate one from the others. To me, they're all pretty much sculptures. During the shows and the studio tour, what we do is I love to cook, and I teach cooking. So one of the things I do, since I make also pots for cooking, I cook samples of the food that can be cooked in the pots. We have a lot of animals, so people can come and visit the animals, cats and dogs, and we have 2 turkeys, guinea hens, a big garden. So normally people come here also to visit the gardens. I love to meet the people. People are wonderful. The community is incredible here. It's a really fantastic community, not only of artists, but people living here, very committed, and I think very caring about everything. So to me, very often they ask me what my work means to me, or they tell me what it means to them, and that's always a discovery, because sometimes something for me is totally different from what they see.
Well, I'm Edwin White. I'm a sculptor out in Chatham County, and I've been on the tour, the Chatham Studio Tour, for about 8 years, since 2000. The work that I do is mainly out of metal these days. When I got on the tour, I was excited about doing larger scale pieces of models that I've been doing for years. And so that's basically why I got on the tour. When I set up for a tour, I'm basically setting up for people that have been out here before. I have a lot of repeat people who come out, and not necessarily to buy, and I know that, but we have a great time. They are mainly interested in keeping up with what I've been doing, the changes in my work, and so the conversations tend to be long. I mean, we can really have a good time talking about work and what they've seen elsewhere, and have suggestions for me.
I'm Joyce Bryan at Stone Crow Pottery in Pittsburgh. I've been involved with the studio tour since its inception, which is 16 years ago. I've done everything from cook to hang in the galleries to, well, I guess the last 8 or 9 years I'm in charge of the brochure distributions. Most of the pottery that I make is for the preparation, cooking, serving, and eating of food, with a few other odds and ends thrown in, and a sculpture every once in a while when I have time. The Friday before the first opening, first Saturday opening of the studio tour, there is a big gala event at the Chatham County Community College Pittsboro campus, building number 2, where there is a piece exhibited of everybody that's on the studio tour. It's hung or on pedestals, and it draws a really lively crowd. There's food, there's drink. It's not alcoholic, but there's food and drink and lots of social interaction. It's a community event for Pittsboro and those from way off. You know, there are people who come down from Virginia, out from the mountains, you know. People have flown in from Ohio for the studio tour in New York. So it's a big extravaganza, and there you can see a piece of everybody's work, and you can go down the line and say, ooh, I want to stop at that boutique, and mark it on your little brochure.
I'm Kathleen Jordan, and I live in the woods outside Pittsboro, and I make paintings, and most of my work is done from life, which is pretty unusual today. I make a real point of being with my subjects. The experience of being with them is what's important. I don't have a television, so that gives you some idea of the importance of actual experience in my life. When they come in, they have 2 places to go. One is to my studio, one is to my home, because they can see big work here and smaller works in my studio that are more recent. And they walk around and they eat and drink things. And it's just a big party.
I've developed friendships with people through that. And the art community is a wonderful community here in Chatham County. And I've gotten to know people who I've been able to learn from. And there have been quite a few artists here in Chatham County who've encouraged me, and it's been a great experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Pittsboro and Chatham County are kind of a magical place. The woods and the hills are filled with all different kinds of artists, musicians, writers, actors, singers, you know, just poets, besides the visual ones that you can see on the studio tour. So we have this amazing community.
I got to meet the artists living out in the woods when I joined the tour. You know, I didn't know all these people were out there. We didn't know about one another. So we now are a mutual support society, and I've made many friends. That's been great.
I think the benefit is that culture is it's built in layers, and coming from Europe, I can read so many different layers of our culture, and coming here, really, it's a big shock, because there is a huge difference of how ancient is the culture there and how many layers there are. And here, how young it is, and how these layers are built year by year, you know. And the studio tour gives a chance to people to build a cultural layer about art, which is fabulous, it's very important. You know, it's so important. A beautiful world cannot exist without art.
The Chatham Studio Tour takes place on 2 weekends, December 6th and 7th and 13th and 14th. In Chatham County, I'm the Artful Traveler.